Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And, I hope every single one of you guys had a great Christmas, a great New Year's, a great whatever you guys celebrate. And, I think most of your wishes were for some MMA. We are 1 week away from most of us checking in. Now, I don't know if we're going to be checking in for Mackenzie Dern and Amanda Hebos for the actual fight, but I know we're going to be checking in for something, if you know what I mean. And when it comes to the actual pay-per-views and whatnot, when it comes to the title fights, we still got 2 weeks until then, until UFC 311. So with this time, I thought it would be a good time to kind of sit here and just predict every single division and who's going to be the champion at the end of the year in 2025. Now let's get straight into it. I figured we start with the first main event of the year, at least for, a numbered pay-per-view card. So let's get into it. 155 division, the champion, Islam Makhachev, as he takes on Arman Tsarukyan this year. Second time, I'm excited for it, but as much as I think it's going to be a great fight, as close as I think it may be, as fun as it may be, I'm telling you guys, at the end of the day, Islam Makhachev is just too good, dude. Don't get me going how good his striking is getting, but it's just how good his camp is. Him and Abib are just phenomenal. His cousins, everybody that you see in their training camp, man, is phenomenal at it. Not only is their grappling so good, but it's their top game and just how smothering these guys are. The way that they know weight distribution in the human body is truly incredible, man. They are so good at what they do. And I think outside of the Dagestani killers, I think the only people we've ever seen that good at grappling, that's smothering, John Jones comes to mind, DC at heavyweight comes to mind, Cain Velasquez, that's about it. Now, we have seen some great cardio grapplers like we have with GSP and we have with, good old Marab, like we talked about, Aljo. You've seen it with Kamaru Usman. You see it with a lot of RDA was pretty good at. You see a lot of these guys. But it's just something else to watch these guys. Some other great grapplers like we did with Charles DuBronx and Arman Tsarukyan. So I ultimately think, though, at the end of the year, I think Islam gets done with this. I don't think he takes the Charles rematch. I don't think he takes a fight with Renato Moicano or anybody. There's nobody that has made the name for themselves that would be a good first fight for Islam. And we're just talking rematches now. So I think this is the year that we see one title defense out of 155, and he goes up and moves up to 170. He's already done favors for the UFC. I gave this man Volkanovski his chance twice. I took care of him. I gave Charles his chance, took care of him. I've given everybody, Dustin Poirier, a chance, took care of him. Look at me now. I'm taking out Arman for the second time. Like, I'm ready to go up. Give me my shot now. So I love it too, man. Especially if Bilal goes out there and loses, it's going to be even easier of a decision. But I ultimately think Islam gets it done. And also I think this because Ali Abdelaziz, his manager, has been very vocal recently talking about Islam's ability to be 170, to be 185 champ. Honestly, he even said that he could take out Alex Pereira if he gets him down. So I think that's a sign, man. I think he moves up this year. So that's my thing for 155. Now let's get straight into the next one. It's the co-main event of UFC 311 in Bantamweight division, 135. The man Merab Dvalishvili as he takes on Umar Nurmagomedov. And I know a lot of people love Umar. I know he's a phenomenal fighter. He's got the name. His last performance against Corey Sandhagen was phenomenal. But to me, man, I just think he's a little too green. I think Merab, I think he can really exploit that gas tank of anybody, not just a great grappler, but I think he could really do it against somebody like Umar, who we just saw kind of gas and kind of fade a little bit against Corey Sandhagen. So that's a death wish against somebody like Merab. So I'm riding with Merab. But this is where it gets weird with this division, man. He's talking about having 3 or 4 title defenses within the first quarter of the year, which we all know with commissions isn't going to happen. And he doesn't have the fighting style that can go out there and kill somebody in the first 10 seconds where he leaves unscathed. So with 25-minute wars, most likely not going to happen. But if that is the case, if he wants to be fighting as active as possible, is this why they haven't announced anything for Sugar or Corey Sandhagen or Piotr Jan or anything? Because these 3 are the only ones that make sense to me at all for title fights. But the fight that I want to see the most at 135, and not even for the belt, is Corey Sandhagen and Sugar. And with that being said, too, I don't care about who wins that fight, but I think both of those guys' styles can take somebody out like a Merab. I think it's going to be a long striker, a long sniper type fighter, and those two are the number one. I have 1 and 2 when it comes to it. So I'm excited to see how that fight plays out. I think with Suga just having 25 minutes with Merab, I think he could get it done. But this is where it's going to be fun at the end of the year. Does Suga have a rematch with Piotr Jan? Does Merab have a rematch with Piotr Jan or Corey Sandhagen? Like, it's a toss-up to me. So I can see somebody like Suga or Corey winning this year, but if they end up fighting each other first before they fight Merab, I'll take whoever wins that one. But then I could easily see those guys losing in maybe like November or December against Piotr Jan. I really don't know. It's going to be a tough one at 135. So if I had to really rock with it, give me Corey Sandhagen or Suga Sean. Whoever wins between those two fighters or whoever gets the shot against, Merab is ultimately going to be my choice. Now let's get into February at UFC 312 when the main event takes place at the middleweight division, 185, as Dricus du Plessis takes on Sean Strickland. And this is where it gets fun with this division, man. I don't care who wins this fight. Dricus du Plessis can win. Sean Strickland can win. I don't really care. I think I'm leaning Dricus. I think after beating Izzy, I think this man's confidence is an all-time high. But regardless of who wins, I think this is the year of Khamzat Chimaev, man. I really think Khamzat finally gets it. I think we can maybe stay away from the injuries finally, the little visa issues. If we can stick away from those, I think he finally gets it done here in 2025. Now, when it comes to his first title defense, I think there's a strong chance that he could get the title probably, if this happens in February, if Dricus or Sean get this done without being too hurt, I think they could get this done by May, June area, maybe July for International Fight Week with the whole John Jones-Aspinall fight. Could be pretty massive. But then I really think the only title defense that he probably has this year, if Izzy can get through, Imavov, I really think that they're going to set this up. I really think it's the Izzy, Khamzat Chimaev. I think that might be top 3, top 4, top 5 fights that you could make in 2025, and who wouldn't want to see it? I know maybe most of us already know that Khamzat would probably get that done, but if Izzy goes out there and looks good against Imavov, man, I'm excited for that. And then if not, I don't know if we'll see a title defense this year. I think they might let Khamzat kind of breathe it out, and maybe early 2026, maybe we can see the Imavov or the Cal Borrelios maybe come up in there, and I think 185 just takes off. So I'm excited for this one. And then now let's go into it. It's a toss-up. I don't know which one's going to headline UFC 313. It's either going to be in the light heavyweight or it's going to be featherweight, it seems, as of right now. So let's look at featherweight. Let's look at this man, Ilia Topuria. I think so far, it sounds like it's going to be against Diego Lopez. But if it's against Movsar, either one. You guys pick it. I think he gets the job done regardless of who he fights in this one. But I think this is probably the only title defense we see at 145 this year. And I think Topuria should, after taking somebody out like Volkanovski and then taking somebody out like Max. Yeah, I just don't see the Volk rematch happening. And if it does, cool. I just don't see it, man. I think with all this talk that Alia's been talking about going up to 155, maybe testing out Islam or he's willing to test out Charles do Bronx, maybe Dustin Poirier. I don't know what it is, but we all know Topuria is not here for a long time for all the title defenses. This man wants the cheese. He wants it now. We see the superstar that he is in Spain and all over the world. Really, I mean, this man, I'm telling you guys, he wants to be something big. He wants to do the big fights like Conor, but he actually wants to stick around and get them. So I think it's a one and done type situation at 145 this year. I just don't see it, man. I love my boy Max. I would love to see him get another one. I'd like to see Volk get another shot. I'd like to see, Diego Lopez get his shot. Movsar. It's a fun division, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Ilia just kind of says, I'll get my first title defense, probably go move up to 155, see how that does. And I don't think we see a 45 fight, maybe a stupid interim one by the end of the year. But at the end of the day, I think Topuria just moves up. So let's move into the next one. Probably the most unpredictable one, I would think, because from what it sounds like at light heavyweight at the 205, this man Alex Pereira, from his last tweet that we just saw where he's making fun that it's not going to be this man Magomed, now it's got you sitting there questioning, who's it going to be? Carlos Olberg, Dominic Reyes. I mean, Yuri and Jamal are fighting right now. I don't think we want to see the Jan Blachowicz fight. Like, I don't know what's really out there right now. Magomed Ankalaev is strictly the number one contender for me. I think he's the only one that makes sense at 205. But if they just want to get Alex Pereira out there and, maybe, Ramadan just killing this man, Magomed Ankalaev, for his title fight, I get it. But, the opportunities are endless for this man, Alex Pereira. I could see him surprising us again and doing maybe another maybe 3 or 4 fights again this year, title defenses, just jumping in last second. But at the same time, I could see him maybe being a little more, I guess, measured this time, and maybe taking out somebody like Carlos Olberg or Dominic Reyes or even Ankalaev, whoever it really is. Maybe just giving it one true title defense this year, and then maybe putting all them baskets into whatever happens at 185. I know he's talked about going back down to fight Dricus, or could you imagine him against Hamzat? I guess that gets me really excited too. And then I would really put all my eggs in that basket too, with the whole John Jones, Tom Aspinall winner. I would go all in. Like, what else is there for him? Maybe if Izzy gets on another hot streak, we could maybe work that out at 205. But as of right now, I can't see Alex Pereira being taken, dethroned this year. I could see Ankalaev getting it done, but I think the UFC really hates this man Ankalaev, and I think they're going to do everything they can to really avoid the Pereira matchup. So, as far as I could guess, I really like Pereira, but I'm excited to see which route he goes. I want to think that he's going to maybe do a different division this year. I really think he's either going to go back down to 185 to test himself against Dricus or against Hamzat, whoever the most fun is, especially if Dricus goes out there and takes Hamzat out. My gosh. But also at the same time, I could see him going up to heavyweight and testing himself against whoever wins against John Jones and Aspinall. So you guys let me know. That's a tough one for real, but you guys let me know. Now let's move in to the next one. I'm guessing it's probably going to be the strawweight division. I guess we could go with that one first. I think Pantoja is probably the first one we're going to see, because you got Bilal, but he's going through Ramadan. And, of course, we already know the heavyweight division is probably going to be or at least waited on until the, International Fight Week this year. So if I had to guess there in about March, April area, even May, I'm probably going to guess the strawweight Pantoja. Now, with this division, I know he's champion, but I think the only fight I want to see at all at 125 this year whatsoever is this man Manel Kape versus Kai Kara France. I don't know how the fight hasn't happened yet. It has made itself. It has built itself its own. I don't know why we don't get that fight. But if I'm being real with you guys, I think Pantoja goes out there and takes out both of those guys. I think he takes out Manel Kape first, most likely, and then goes out and takes Kai Kara France out. And then maybe at the end of the year, we might finally get the Manel Kape Kai Kara France fight. But at this rate, maybe Amir Al-Bazzi gets a shot, but I really think Pantoja has another successful year here in 2025, and I think he sets himself up for 2026, maybe moving up to 135 and testing himself there. So 125, I really like Pantoja. I think he's just a killer. He's on something right now, man, and I think he's going to fight some actual game opponents this time, but he's just on another level currently. So let's move ourselves into the heavyweight division. For me, Man, this is so tough. I've talked about it for so long. It seems like as of right now, we're getting the John Jones fight. It's the number one fight in the UFC. It's the number one fight they could make right now in MMA, most likely, unless we're bringing Francis back against John Jones. But to be fair with this one, I've said it multiple times now. I don't care what happens after this or what happens during this fight. It is going to be a dark, dark time after this fight. You might get the Alex Pereira jump up and might get that super fight. But what's left at heavyweight, man? For a Tom Aspinall who ultimately, win or lose, Tom Aspinall is going to be the one that continues to carry the torch, because even if he loses to John Jones might retire, and then it's Tom Aspinall is just left for the future. And if Tom Aspinall dethrones this man, John Jones, it just makes him even bigger. But who's left? Cyril Gane? Alexander Volkov? Curtis Blades? Sergey Pavlovich? I don't know who's worth it anymore. There's not a single person anymore at heavyweight that even makes sense for either two of those guys to fight. It's just not fun anymore. Who you got? Tai Tuivasa? Derek Lewis's old ass? We're going to need something here for... I wish that Robulis Despain or whatever his name is that went over to fight for Karate Combat. I really wish he could have actually made a name for himself in the heavyweight division. But my God, there's just nobody. The heavyweight division, whoever wins, my only probably prediction, John Jones beats Tom Aspinall, retires, relinquishes the belt. Maybe by the end of the year, because that's going to happen in July. Maybe by the end of the year, Tom Aspinall has an interim title fight with who? Volkov? I don't know, man. It's going to be a tough one. I don't like it at all. It's up to you guys. You guys tell me what happens to the heavyweight division, but it's going to be ugly here for the next few years, unless they can finally get something with Francis. But even then, that's only going to save you for 1 year, maybe 6 months. So You guys let me know. The heavyweight division is ugly. And then we get into the final one, the welterweight division. This man, Bilal Muhammad, currently the king. You know, he's got Ramadan coming up, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if we see a later fight here, maybe June, maybe July. I don't know. I just think Bilal finally gets to fight Shavkat. I know JDM's got Usman this year. It could be a lot of fun. You got Carlos Prates that is coming up that can do the damn thing. Ian Gary's still doing the damn thing. Joaquin Buckley up in there. It's going to be a lot of fun here at 170. You still got Leon Edwards who can maybe make a splash. Sean Brady's still doing that thing. Like 170 is stacked right now. And if I got to be real with you, it's all going to come down. If Bilal can take out Shavkat, which after the whole Shavkat Ian Gary fight, I still do like Bilal, even though I hate Bilal. Bilal might be my least favorite fighter of all time. It's between him and Anthony Smith. If we're just being honest, we have our favorites, we have the ones we hate. Like, it's just how it is. I'm sure they're nice guys, but I don't care for their fighting style. But as much as I don't like him, I can't lie and say that I think he's going to lose to Shavkat. I think he can beat him. But I think it's really going to come down to whoever can. If JDM can take out somebody like Usman, that would be phenomenal. If this man Sean Brady or Ian Gary or even Joaquin Buckley or Carlos Prates, whichever one can get their name out there beating Leon Edwards, I'm telling you, man, those guys can get these title shots. I think welterweight might have the most title defenses this year, or at least most title fights, I should say. It's going to be between that and 135 most likely. So you guys let me know what you guys think. At the end of the day, at 170, I think it's the year of somebody new. I just don't know if it's going to be Shavkat yet, but out of the Prates, the Sean Brady's, everybody I've named, the JDMs, the Ian Garys, I think it's finally time that we see the future of 170 here at 2025. And I'll even take it a step further. I think up until about 2027, 2028, I think we see the belt kind of change hands quite drastically. So you guys let me know, as always. Your boy Steven Moustaris. As always, everybody have a good New Year's. Have a good one. Be safe out there. And please stay away from New Orleans and these terrorist attacks, baby. Come on. Whoop.